Hey guys, Jeremy KJ7IAZ, and this is Ham Radio Insights. On this antenna building episode, we're going to do a Yagi for VHF. A little bit of the backstory on it and preface is if you have like a handy talk or just a low powered transceiver and you're just having a hard time quite getting into a repeater in your area, you can build something like this to help get that little extra oomph to get that to get into that repeater. Because a lot of times when you're a new ham, you have an inexpensive handheld or something like that, and all of a sudden you try to get in, you can hear the repeaters, but you can't seem to open it up, and if you can, you just can't, nobody can just seem to hear you. So this is a good opportunity. And with saying this isn't an exact scientific, perfect commercial grade type antenna build, like most of my stuff, it's just trying to help people get on the air, okay? If we have somebody with low power, they're just not quite enough reach to get there, that can be frustrating for people. So we want to try to rectify that. The dimensions and stuff are pretty rough on this one. Build it and you get on the air, that's great. You can fine tune it, do a little bit more research as you continue your ham journey, and really kind of fine tune these type of things. This is just a good way to get you started, get you on the air, get you excited about that next step, that next level, and give you some real basic principles. If you're here to try to find the exact scientific meaning of building a Yagi antenna, this isn't the video for you, but it's a good rough understanding and a good kind of first build or second build just to give you that little extra oomph to get you where you want to go. So enjoy. I've done a lot of the pre-work ahead of time. I've cut some of the stuff the right lengths I want to use. Kind of built a few little things so you don't have to sit there and watch me drill a bunch of holes and stuff like that to try to hopefully make this a little bit more informative and just kind of show you how to put it together. All right, so some of the basic materials you're going to need. You're going to need a boom to start with, okay? I've gone ahead and marked this out and drilled it. I'll go over the dimensions here in a little bit, but just a little piece of this is 1/2 inch PVC, works good. I can put the end, you can use an elbow, or I just had this laying around, but I can build this here and then put another piece on there to have a kind of a mast for it and whatnot. But then it makes it really easy to, if you don't glue it together, you can make it horizontal or you can make it vertically polarized. In our case, we're going to build this thing to be vertical since we're going to use it to get into a repeater. So we got these two pieces. Again, this could be just an elbow. I just had this laying around. A lot of these antenna builds I just use the stuff, I reuse stuff. You all end up with piles of stuff that you can use and reuse to build antennas, which makes it kind of fun. Then we need, this is, it's going to end up being shorter. This is probably about 4.5, 5 inches. This is going to be what we call a hairpin match. I'll show you that a little bit better too. Kind of get that up there. I don't know if you can see that. And then, of course, we're going to need the elements. And I've used some wire. This isn't going to be ideal, but it will work. This is some 14 gauge solid copper wire, the coating on it. So, I have some of these. I'll go through the dimensions here shortly with you on that. And I got another couple. I got some for the reflectors. I got some for the director, and then some for the driven element here too. And I'll show you how I kind of prep those. Of course, you're going to need some tools, tape measures handy, and something to write and mark with. A pair of pliers is always good, and some wire cutters and strippers. Of course, I've used all that already to kind of get this stuff going. I'll have to use them again to make some adjustments or whatnot, but you'll see that. I do have a NanoVNA, and I'll use that to tune it. Not 100% necessary. If you're, just getting into ham radio, don't be discouraged by not having that kind of stuff. Just use what you can. If you have to strip your wires with a knife, you can cut the plastic off and pull it. Just make do. That's what ham radio is all about, is kind of making stuff going. So this is going to be my feed point. There's lots of ways to do this. I just wanted to try something different. What I did is I took a SO239 connector there, and I just riveted. I just drilled some holes in this little aluminum bar that I had, and then bent it into place. This little pigtail will become our feed point when we attach this to one of the elements of the dipole. And if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I do have a dipole video out there too, kind of talks through and builds the dipole. That's basically all we're doing, and then we're adding a couple elements to it. So go check that video out. I'll put a card or whatever up here for it, so you can go get some basic information there too. So this is kind of just one way of doing it. What you could do is you could use a piece of coax and strip the center conductor and the shield and go left and right into your dipole there, and then have a little piece there if you have a little pigtail or whatnot there. This we're going to build a connector, so I can put a connector on it, and then I'll probably fix this. I drilled some holes in it, thinking maybe I'd rivet that down to this at some point. But I think for this video, I'll just end up kind of taping it on there, use some black tape. This thing's invaluable for building anything, because I might need to make some adjustments or something, but I want to get it up there and get it going for you guys so you can see that. So, and then you'll also need a soldering iron. If you don't have one yet, as long as you can make an electrical connection on it, you can get something to work. Again, it's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect to work either. So keep that in mind when you're doing this stuff, and hopefully it helps encourage you to try this stuff. Once you start getting into this stuff, it is a blast. So anyway, let's get to start going. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the reflector and the directed thing. I'll get those kind of in there and set, and then we'll do, because they're the easiest, I guess. So is what I did, if you want to kind of follow along and cut yours the same, is I went onto my app, and this is on Android Studio, so if you want to get it, I'll put a link in the description to it, and then you can just find it. You can search my call sign KJ7IAZ on Android Store, and it should pop up. There's two versions of it. There's a free version, and then it has ads on the bottom. I got to make my 10 cents a week or something on that, and then there's a $1 paid, and anything that you guys, if you guys do buy that on there, I put that money right back into this and whatnot too. So if I get in here, let me just pull it up, and I'll get you some screenshots of this too. Ham Radio Toolbox. When you get into it, it looks kind of like this. You'll kind of see it, and I'll get you a screenshot of that so that it's there. But I got an antenna calculator. I can punch in the frequency I want to use. And my specific frequency, when you're dealing with repeaters, I'll give you kind of the mindset I have on this. If you're transmitting on one frequency and you're receiving on the other, there's typically, it's 600 kilohertz offset. So if you split the difference of that just for your antenna, if you're just looking for one repeater, you can fine tune it for that one. That's kind of what we're going to do. So the repeater I'm looking at, you're transmitting in at 147.600. And so you're receiving on 147.000. So I'm going to make this antenna. My goal is to make it for 147.3 if you follow me. So if I hit that, I'm looking at, so it shows up at 1.67 for a quarter wavelength. So that's roughly 20 inches. So I'm just using round numbers here. We're going to get this thing as close as we can. Half wave is 3.3. So is what we're going to do is make two elements at 20 inches. Okay. And I know that this is going to probably resonate a little bit lower, and we're going to end up cutting this to get it to tune in there too. But I'm kind of doing that on purpose to kind of show you the process. We can, like I said, we can fine tune this a lot. Sometimes the process and the learning that comes along with this is more important than having it exactly precise right off the get-go. There's plenty of resources. The ARRL antenna book has got all kinds of formulas and stuff. There's all kinds of websites out there that can give you calculators, and you can build these things to exact specifications on that too. So that, and feel free to go out there and do that if you would like, go in there and get that. But I'm just going to give you some real basic things. You watch this video, you'll see by the end of it how much I trim it. If you want to trim it to the first go ahead. We'll caution you, depending on how you install this at the final installation, any metallic objects and stuff like that around it can affect it. So you should kind of get that last fine tune in place as close as you can, and just kind of fine tune that so that it does give you the best opportunity there. But this, keep in mind, measurements are going to be there. So we've got two of these that are going to be 20 inches. We're going to strip one side of them. These should be the only ones you really have to strip at this point. I just take about a 1/4 inch off. Just enough to solder it, because we're going to solder that with the feed point. And this one we'll take off a little bit. So we got those. If I get up here, you can just kind of see there's not too terrible much off there. So we got those two. And then we've got our reflector is going to be the longest piece. Got these all mixed up. So, and you'll notice it's pretty flimsy. This is about as small a gauge as I would want to do on this. It'd probably work really good for a UHF, VHF. But this will work. I've done this before and it definitely will work. So it's just not going to be perfectly ideal, but hey, if that's what you got, I'm going to show you that it does work. So I'm just kind of going through this and just trying to get them as straight as I possibly can here. And once we get the final thing, I'll have to go through and kind of bend them up and get them straighter too. And one of the things is once these things go through, I just realized something. I made 2 of these and I didn't need to. All right, so we only need one. I'd showed you guys earlier 2 sets of that. I don't need that much wire. I just need one set at 42 inches here. So that's what this one is 42 inches. So this is going to be the reflector. We'll put this one in the back. And when you put these things through here, if you drill this out, just get a drill bit that's just barely bigger than the wire. I like to fold these up on the ends here. It's so nice to have having this flexible stuff. It doesn't have to be measured exactly right either. You can just push down on that and get that to kind of line itself up. And then that's what I'm going to do to hold this in place is I'm going to just kind of take some black tape. Some of you guys are cringing at this project, but when you guys see how well it works, you will be a believer. So what we're going to do is just kind of make a X cross pattern across this a couple different directions to kind of make sure it holds. And we'll get these. And you can use aluminum tubing. I've done that before too, or you just get the aluminum tubing. Again, I'm building this with what I have around. We're going to do this again up here. And I may come back and replace this with tubing on this, you know, because it's once the boom is there, if I can get this kind of proof of concept going, it's a lot easier to just come back in with the pieces of aluminum and replace the copper wire. You can see I'm kind of just using that. And then we'll come up here and get this one straightened back out. Get this just on there. So, okay, we just want that to be there so it's not changing its length. Okay. Okay, so now this is where we got what kind of starting to look like an antenna. When we're all done, we'll go through and line these up a little bit better too. If it's windy out, this thing's probably not going to work all that great, although it probably still will work. The worst case scenario, you're still going to have a dipole up where you need it, and it's still going to work. But as this thing goes in and out, it'll be okay, because you guys just watch, and if you build one of these, you'll see what I mean. It doesn't have to be perfect to work. This, now we're going to move on to doing the director, okay? So what we need to do is I'm actually going to drill, this here is going to sit in here. I'm going to drill another hole, I think, to come out of this. So what I can do is I can put an angle, 90-degree angle on these. These can come in and then up, and I'll attach the feed points on the spot where they come up. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm able to get these kind of fished through there. It was kind of a pain, so you could actually build a little platform or something and put on there or whatnot to make it a little easier to work with. You just want to try to keep this stuff all in line. I got this in here. The next step is to get this set up here, and then I'm going to put the center conductor to one side. I'm going to kind of cut that so I can solder that together good. Is what I'll do is I'll bend them together so that they kind of overlap a little bit, and then get them soldered up. And then I'm going to build another little piece to go from the ground side over to here. So we'll work on that. All right, so this is on there. There's a couple pictures. I'll show you that, little close-ups there. So then the next step would be, I want to get it up and test it first, of course, and then I'm going to add this hairpin match. I want to go measure it before I put this on there to see what this actually does. I want to show you that. So we will do that next. Of course, we got to get all these things straightened out too. So I'll do that outside where I'm going to kind of put it. So follow me outside and we'll go do a little testing on this thing. All right, well, we are out here. We got it set up. I'll show you my setup here. I got the NanoVNA hooked up. I got this, I should probably tape that up or something out of the back. Try to get it out of the way maybe, but I think we'll just leave it for now. I'll show you. I got my stuff straightened out as best as I could. Just a little PVC. I got my stump holding it up or whatnot, but just gonna show you guys this real quick. See if I can get this on here. If I don't know if you can see, oh, that's not going to show up. Is what I'll try to do is try to get a good picture of it. Maybe try to shade it and get a good picture of it. But I'm basically at 134. I don't know if I get that to focus or nothing. At 134, I'm at 1.18. So as I suspected, I built it, it was a little bit long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go trim off about a 1/4 inch probably of every element and just see what it looks like then. All right, so I'm outside. I have this set up. I'll show you here. You see up there, it's the antenna. I just put it on a mast and just hooked it in there and then ran it up and then the cable. So what I did is I put a little 3 or 4 turns of the coax, and then it goes into the side of the camper there. And then I have it, it runs up through here in the seat, whatever, but here you see all the rest of my radio stuff. This is kind of where I operate nets. But now you can see this, get that reflection good. So that yellow line is the SWR, and it is plumb flat. Try to get a picture of that too. And it reads 1.03. Of course, it's moving a little bit because it's flimsy, but there you have it, 1.03. And you see that green line is kind of the Smith chart. It's pretty fantastic. I'm not going to worry about trying to match it any closer than that. I just put it up there. So sometimes that's all you got to do. All right, so we got it in here. I've kind of tested it a little bit already. It works good. I'm switching over to a bow fang just to show you guys. See how we do here. Let's switch over to KJ7 IAZ testing. KJ7 IAZ testing again. Maybe if I get the volume up. KJ7 IAZ, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, you're coming through with the bow fang. It's not as well as the 705, but the bow fang is doing the job.
Yeah, the first couple times I went through twice and then realized I didn't have the volume up, so I don't know if you heard me the first 2 times too.
You did, like I say, you're coming through full quieting. with that Baofeng, but the audio is a lot better with the 705.
Yeah, I suppose you get what you pay for, but yeah, you know, if you have one of these around, they come in handy once in a while. But I appreciate you coming back.
Not a problem. Name's Robert, TI7CFZ. I'm over here in Edgar. I normally got the 2-meter on. I got a 9700 sitting here. I normally run all day.
So there you have it. I got a little bit of a test there for you too. The Baofeng goes across. I was actually able to use my IC705 at a 1/2 watt through that antenna to going, what is it, 50-60 miles to that repeater. I might have to look that up. I'll look that up and figure that out what it is actually and put it in here. So but yeah, other than that, just make sure if you if you find any use in these videos or you like them, make sure you like and subscribe, and it really helps us out. And put questions or comments if you have anything to add. If you've built some of these things a lot nicer than this one and you want to add something to it, feel free. Drop a comment in there. It can only help people that are looking through the comments trying to figure out how to do this. But you can see how easy it was to get the Baofeng to the repeater. It doesn't even open it sitting in here with the rubber ducky, so it makes a huge difference. Of course, having the height up there, you get a little higher, that helps. You could just go get a little mobile or a dipole and put up on something like that too, and it's probably going to help immensely too. So if you're in that situation and you need that little extra boost, do yourself a favor and just get it done. Do a dipole. You don't even have to be as complicated as this, but just get something up in the air and point it where you need to go and have at it and have some conversations. So again, thanks for watching. This is KJ7IAZ, and we'll see you on the next one.